Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where guaranteed champions are back on the menu in a big surprise, actually, a big twist, where we have a guaranteed Void Legendary this weekend. It is happening alongside an interesting 10x event. Going to break those all down today for you in today's video, because there's a big question mark. I just drew a question mark. I've never done that before. It just happened. Okay. There's a question mark over whether or not it's even worth participating. We'll see. First of all, though, I do want to give a quick and big shout out to you guys. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel and subscribing. We just passed 20,000 subs on the channel just this morning. Woke up to that, which was a really fun thing to wake up to. A big milestone. So again, thank you for everything. It's been a crazy few months. I think we're doing this about 9 or 10 months. I guess it's like 10 months now or so. Coming up to the 1 year anniversary of the channel. It's amazing to hit 20k by then. And yeah, hopefully things keep going well. We shall see. Anyway, let's dive into this. Who the heck is this guaranteed? I'm sure you're asking. It is none other than Fortus. So yes, Fortus is going to be a guaranteed champion from Void Shards after 80 Void Shards this weekend. Pretty interesting. My expectation, by the way, is that this will probably be up for 2 days. Well, no, it'll probably be up for the full 3. Yeah, I imagine it's probably going to be up for the 3. We shall see. I do think, I'm not sure, maybe other people did videos on Fortus. I feel like I was the only one on the test server that did a video on Fortus and could find any use for him at all. Needless to say, this champion on the test server is pretty underwhelming. His A1 can put fear. It always crits if the enemy is already under fear or true fear. His A2 is an AoE attack that does decent damage, has a 100% chance when booked to put true fear that cannot be resisted if targets are already under regular fear. And then he has a secret skill that ignores 30% of defense against targets under fear, true fear, always crits against targets under fear and true fear. This is a secret skill, 40% chance to unlock it whenever a fear or true fear is placed on an enemy, and the damage scales up. So basically, let me be up. Well, there's a buff coming for this champion first and foremost, which is pretty intriguing. They would not let us test it. I don't believe the buff is live in game yet either, and we don't know how big the buff is going to be, but they're going to be upping the baseline damage of this skill, which is then going to make it scale higher and harder, effectively. We don't know what that buff is going to be, which makes it very difficult to give you a hard recommendation on this, because it might be useless. Again, when I tested it out on the test server, pretty straightforward. On the test server, this did not hit hard at all at the start. It had about a 1x multiplier. People were asking me, I probably didn't make it clear enough in the video, why didn't I not build this guy in Savage and have him nuke as hard as possible with this move on the first turn? Because quite simply, it was entirely reliant on scaling up over multiple turns to actually start hitting hard. I did try the short version of the video. I recommend you go watch it. Is that for Doom Tower waves, I found this to be actually very strong. That in Doom Tower waves, when you're going through multiple waves with multiple champions that can fear, this thing would start to absolutely smack, absolutely destroy. So it's going to be interesting, expecting the buff to up the effectiveness of this. My expectation, the expectation is that this still won't hit that hard at the start. That it should, I mean, looking at the design of this skill, the design intention is clearly that this is supposed to scale up over a longer fight, and that it effectively gives you a win condition, right? If the fight goes on long enough, he will eventually just start killing everything in like one hit, and there's nothing they can do about it. So I think he is a champion that you build in something like Stone Skin. You build him tanky, you build him for a long fight, and he's going to start destroying. Yeah, it's basically what it is. It's like a Mortu Macab or a Rotos. It's that sort of threat. If you think about it, it's like if you leave them alive long enough, Mortu's eventually going to proc Peril, and he's going to start destroying you and blocking revive. Rotos is going to keep scaling up his max HP and just start destroying you. It's that sort of vibe to it. It's interesting, guys. It's interesting. Then he has the passive, of course, as well. This is actually really cool, where it makes 15% higher chance for fear or true fear to proc. So it goes from, I believe, a 50% chance to a 65% chance. He has like a swift parry thing built in with a full heal in his kit. He's a weird champion. Should you pull with 80 Void Shards for him? If you have them saved up, should you pull? Honestly, I really don't know. That's the honest truth. I really don't know, because I simply don't know what the buff is to this move. Is he going to be relevant? Is he not? Even if this does get buffed up, I still don't see him being relevant anywhere except for Doom Tower Hard, and Doom Tower Normal and Hard, where I actually do think he's very good for wave-based content. And if they ever add higher difficulties of Doom Tower, I expect him to be good there. Bad against the bosses, though, because he can't fear the bosses. Bad against Hydra. You can't fear Hydra. I think he's also got some potential on arena defense. Now, when we tried him out on the test server, he was pretty underwhelming for arena defense, to be honest. But it is a question mark. And there's always that question mark for the future, right, as well. Will they add more champions? Because the more champions that are out there that are applying fears, the better he gets. There's not a ton of champions out there that are very good at applying fears. The more sources of fear they add to the game, the better he gets. It's a real question mark. It's a real question mark. Will I go for him? I might go for him, to be honest, for guaranteed voids. Again, the expectation is they might do another one around Christmas. So I'll have 17 void shards left after that with 2 months to build them back up. I don't know. I'll have to sit down and think, to be honest. Because as of right now, Fortus is mostly going to be a vault champion. I actually might use him because he would actually be quite good for Doom Tower Hard. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a real question mark. Let me know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is this one? It's so hard to tell you. And I think it's pretty poor form. I actually will say this. I really don't think it is a good thing by Plarium to do this. I think it's really poor form, actually. And if you want to boycott this on a moral ground, then actually totally fair, I think. Because putting out a guaranteed summon for a champion that they've said they're going to change, but won't tell us what they're going to change about him properly. Yeah, okay, anyway, let's look at the 10x event. What is the 10x event that is going on at the same time? Obviously, we're expecting this, and this 10x event, guys, is not part of, well, it's not part of anything. It may be part, maybe, of this. I'm in the wrong place. We do have the Halloween Deck of Fate, which is starting tomorrow. We've got some incredible rewards coming with this. So you could get a minuscule amount of gems, a minuscule amount of silver, or if you're lucky, a 4-star chicken. Ooh, exciting. It's possible that pulling shards is going to unlock points for flipping cards in this event. I'll do a full video on this tomorrow when it goes live. It is possible. So yeah, that might be a benefit, but that's really the only benefit. And, you know, bearing in mind for this 10x event as well, that we're expecting the next fusion to start soon. Although, again, we've had no news on it. We're expecting a fusion for Halloween. And probably void shards and sacred shards are going to be quite important for that. You can check out my whole what's happened to the guaranteed events, because I looked at like some of the potential stuff happening with the upcoming 2x events, upcoming fusions for the rest of the year, which shard types you're going to need when, etc., etc. But you can check that out if you want to see. But anyway, the champions that are in this, they're fairly, I do think they're somewhat Halloween themed, actually. First of all, we've got Miscreated Monster. He is in there. I actually don't have him. Fantastic epic champion, guys. He comes in with an AoE 50% chance to stun. That actually puts out a really big shield for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Very useful thing to have for something like Scarab Boss on Doom Tower Normal. That super helps. He has ally protection for your team and heals him, which is really good. He starts putting out fears as well whenever an ally's attack under ally protection. He's a very good combo with Fortus. I think if you got Miscreated Monster and Fortus together for Faction Wars, that's actually pretty decent, but I don't have him, funny enough. Next up in the epics, we have Skull Crusher. Really good epic. This is actually YST's favorite epic from the Ogren tribes. If you want to go watch our collab where we talked about our favorite legendaries on my channel, favorite epics on his. He is one of the only 3 champions in the game that puts out an AoE counterattack buff, which is pretty cool. He does it with ally protection as well. He's a solid epic. He can actually be part of some of those teams with Helicath and stuff like that. I've done videos on that as well. So he's a good solid epic. Yeah, I don't know if he's worth super chasing shards for, but he might open up a new clan boss team, which is interesting. I just don't, I'm not really pushed to pull these, right, because it's such a bad and weird timing. Taragi the Frog is the other one. Again, another fantastic ally protection champion with a shield as well. Heals himself. He does have an AoE provoke, and he has a decreased attack on his A1. Puts out poisons on his passive. He's a really, really good champion. He's great for clan boss in a killable style team. He's good against some Doom Tower bosses. I think he can be really good against like Scarab Boss and stuff like that. He's a great champion, really good champion as well. I don't use him anywhere at the moment, but he's a champion I'm going to maybe try to do a video on soon. Then for the epic that is boosted, it is Andrissia, who's pretty new for Void epics. So that's kind of cool, right? If you don't have Andrissia and you are going to go for Fortus, there's a really good chance you're going to get her. she's not bad. She has an AoE, decrease enemy buffs by 2 turns. This is, for most intents and purposes, this is a buff strip. You know, it's not, if it's a 3-turn buff, obviously it will still be on, but she really rips those buffs off, increased defense buffs under the whole team. She has a fun passive. She needs to take a turn, mind you. So it's at the start of that turn with a 5-turn cooldown. So not at the start of each turn, at the start of the turn with a 5-turn cooldown. Let that be very clear. She puts ally protection for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest max HP, excuse me. So she'll protect your nuker, but she needs to take a turn, so you need to go first. It's good. You just need to go first. Put strengthen and increased defense on her for 2 turns, so it helps her stay alive. She's got a really good stun then. So yeah, she's a solid champion, right? She is solid in a go first team and a fast speed team. She comes in, she can be your buff stripper that then protects your nuker. So I do think that is very valuable, especially in like 3v3 and stuff like that, where your speed team, you're probably going to send them against something tanky. She can help you stay alive, strip off their buffs. And yeah, you know, it's just, she's very bad if the enemy team goes before you in arena, then it's bad. But she's a great solid champion. Then we come to the epics, and we've got, the legendaries, and we've got 4, and they're really good as well. First up, we have Kyoku. A lot of people love Kyoku. Now, I don't have her. I did try her out before, and I was kind of underwhelmed. But she does come in with ally protection for your team, gives herself block damage with an extra turn. So that's kind of the nice thing about her, is that she does have really good damage, and you can build her with damage because with the block damage, she can actually take hits, right? The ally protection is not going to get her killed if you've built her for pretty good damage, right? So that's kind of an interesting thing about her. She does have a good passive for the arena, though, again, I feel like with reaction gear and stone skin gear, this is like a kind of a passive of 2021. It's not really a 2022 arena meta thing anymore, but it is solid. AoE decrease attack, it can burn. Her A1 can smack really hard. I think she's a good champ. I think she's a bit overrated at the same time. Yeah, like I said, I think she is, you know, Seeker 2.0 in a big way with this passive, but she has some downfalls too. But she is a very good ally protection champion. She is solid. Next up then, we've got Snicktrack, who is a more modern champion that I'm actually kind of intrigued by, for sure. Snicktrack coming in. So he also has that ally protection with reflect damage. Reflect damage is really bad, but with his passive, he does boost the effectiveness of reflect damage. Unfortunately, I did test this out and I did a video on it. It's still really bad. The damage is bad. And most importantly, he puts out a really good shield on his A2. And damage taken by shield buffs does not get reflected. So there's a big anti-synergy in his kit, which really sucks. But he does put out leech. He puts out a very consistent decrease attack with his A1. AoE decrease speed with a really good shield that cannot be removed if there's any enemies under leech, ally protection. So I think for something like Hydra, for something like Iron Twins, as a champion, like for Hydra, you think about it, he's giving you a massive shield that can't be removed, AoE decrease speed, you can put decrease attack on the Head of Wrath, for example, ally protection, reflect damage can maybe do a bit, but mostly it's leech, right? He's giving you a ton of survivability, shielding, ally protection, leech, decrease attack. Really there. He comes in with a great HP aura as well. He can really help your team stay alive. It's a pretty interesting option. It's pretty cool. And then we've got, I think, a champion who's similar to him, but not as good. I actually have a 6-star soul for her, but I don't have her. It's Kira the Watcher. She comes in and is something similar. Ally protection and increased defense on the whole team. On a 3-turn cooldown. She has an AoE, which decreases enemy buffs by a turn and can put decrease accuracy. And her A1 can put decrease attack. She puts out decrease attack as well in a Krisk style manner with her passive. So she is another interesting champion that is, again, there to make your team tankier. I'm not sure if she is super useful, to be completely honest. I think she's meant to be good for Iron Twins, where she can put decrease accuracy, stop Iron Brand stacking up, protect your team, a huge amount of protection, decrease attack, super consistent. I think she's quite good for killable teams for Clan Boss, Demon Lord as well. I don't know if she's really super good outside of that. She could be good for Hydra, right? The decrease accuracy is good, decrease attack, this stuff, but can't really think of a team comp where that's super relevant right now. So she's a bit of a question. I think all these legendaries are like pretty cool, but I wouldn't be rushing out to pull for them is my honest thought, apart from the last one. And the last one is none other than Krisk. So this is where I think things are interesting. This is clearly the trump card, PLARIUM's trump card. They've saved to the end, and I've unintentionally saved to the end of the video as well. I guess it makes for a compelling storyline to the video, which is, haha, you don't really think you want to pull for Fortus, but you do want to pull for Krisk, don't you? So Krisk is a 10x champion. Krisk is absolutely insane. As we know, he's one of the best clan boss champions in the game. He's one of the best Hydra champions in the game. And just in general, ally protection on your whole team, continuous heals on himself, increasing your buffs. He has decreased speed, AoE A1. He's got the provoke with increased defense, increased speed on the A3. An amazing passive, huge shield at the start of the fight, decreased defense, decreased attack when hit. He's just so good, right? He is so good. He's been the key to me, to be honest with you. He is the key for me to getting into Nightmare 1 key Hydra. There are other champions that can do it now, for sure, but he is probably the easiest way to get in there, and he's still super, super recommended for that. So yeah, I mean, it's a thing. I already have Krisk. I wouldn't love a second one in the sense that, as you guys know from my videos, I like to get new stuff. I like to collect them all and to build up new champions. But man, Krisk, on terms of a practical level, a second Krisk would be so useful for Hydra, and especially because we know there's higher difficulties of Hydra coming down the line. So that would be pretty spicy. But there you go, guys. That is the 10x and guaranteed Fortus alongside of it. And of course, this Halloween deck of Fates kicking off as well. What do you guys think? What do you think? Are you going to pull? I'm conflicted. I'm thinking I might go for this. I'm thinking there's a very good chance I will go for this. It'll be an interesting video for you guys to make your decision. I can then test out Fortus for you. I'm sure there's other content creators might go for it. Would I recommend it for you? Like, if you are not if you're a content creator watching this, then yeah, maybe go for it. If you're not a content creator, which is presumably nearly all of you, hello to any content creators who are watching. Should you go for this guaranteed Fortress? I really don't know. I'd be inclined to say no. Yeah, look, as I said, it's pretty deceptive because we just don't know how good this move is going to be. But like I said, my expectation is that it's still not going to be a massive upfront nuke, that most likely this is still going to be a move because that's how it seems to be designed, that is designed to scale over a longer battle. And I still think the only two areas he's likely to be good on are Doom Tower waves and possibly arena defense. Like, I do think you put him in arena defense with a team with fears and you're looking at his passive and going, that's a hassle. You put him in with the, the polymorph blessing. I think he's a good candidate for polymorph if you can get it. Let's see, polymorph on him, defense, a bunch of resistance, 20% chance to start turning people into sheep, stuff like that. But I don't know. I might go for him, but yeah, should you? I don't know. I really don't. I cannot recommend it. I really can't. Anyway, there we go, guys. That's what I think. It's a spicy one for sure. Let me know what you think. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.